Hello everyone, I'm Santiago and today I'm gonna be testing Destiny 2 beta on the GeForce GTX 1050 2GB. For FPS monitoring this time I'll be using the in-game FPS counter. I was able to use MSI Afterburner a couple days ago, or yesterday as well, but after the beta went live for everyone, it just got a new update. I updated the game and MSI Afterburner's overlay stopped working. So I'll be just using the in-game FPS counter, that's all I have available to use. And if you enjoy the content and want to support the channel directly, there's a link to the Patreon page down in the description. So, Destiny 2 beta, I'll be doing 1080p, 900p and 720p. To skip down those sections of the video, check the description below. So first, I'll show you 1080p trying to get 60 frames per second, and it will be possible to be very close to that target. By using low settings, I was able to be at 60 frames per second or over on most scenes, but on very enemy and effect heavy places, the GPU will be the bottleneck, so we'll be in the mid 40s as the worst case scenario so far. Then I'll crank up the settings, trying to stay over 30 frames per second, and it will be quite easy to do so, just using all max settings except anti-aliasing and textures, which will be on high instead. Then I'll do the same for 900p and 720p, a 60 frames per second configuration, and then a 30 frames per second configuration, which means higher settings. After all that, I'll test 900p and 720p once again, but this time using a Ryzen 3 1200 overclocked to 3.9 GHz. That would allow us to stay over 60 frames per second much more often than on the G4560 on more open CPU bound areas when enemies show up, plus effects, so it can be a noticeable difference on 900p and 720p if you're just targeting 60 frames per second. That's why I tested those two resolutions there. Open areas after the prologue and many enemies on screen made the frame rate and GPU usage tank, and the CPU usage was high, around 80 to 95%. To fix that, I tried a Ryzen 3 1200 overclocked to 3.9 GHz, and it was much better on those moments. Maintaining 60 frames per second was much easier, so an i5 Ryzen 5 or better than that should be enough to maintain constant 60 frames per second if your GPU is good enough. Keep in mind that this is a beta, so I couldn't test more of the game. What I show here is an enemy and effect heavy scene that hits the GPU a lot and the CPU when enemies show up. I'll test more open areas once the final game releases, so we get a better understanding on how it performs. The options menu has a good amount of options, but to get a good performance boost you'll need to lower settings in groups. Just avoid MSAA, it's like half the frame rate with it enabled. Use SMAA. So first I'll lower shadows, ambient occlusion, depth of field, light shafts, character and environment detail together. That was the best way to get a higher frame rate, at least in my experience. Other than that, the game's performance isn't too different. I was expecting to be able to disable reflections or something like that, but that seems to be impossible. So changing those settings should be your best chance to get better performance, since putting the settings lower than medium didn't help me that much to get a higher frame rate. Anyway guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you keep enjoying the video, thanks for watching and see you next time.
We hold here. The command ship is next on the list. Missiles! Stay inside my shield! Small Red Legion! Show them what Guardians are made of!
Savala, the last of the shuttles is away. But the speaker, he never made it. I'm going to look for him.
I've got the plaza. Go with Ikora. Find the speaker.
We're on it, Commander.
Jump bugs! I'll take care of these.
Probably should catch up to Ikora.
We hold here. That command ship, it's next on my list. Missiles! Stay inside my shield! More red legions! Show them what Guardians are made of!
The last of the shuttles is away. But the speaker, he never made it. I'm going to look for him.
I've got the plaza. Go with Ikora. Find the speaker.
We're on it, Commander.
Drop bombs! I'll take care of these.
Keep moving. Gotta keep going. Probably should catch up to Ikora.
More missiles! Go! Find the speaker! Drop bombs! I'll take care of these!
Probably should catch up to Ikora. Let's go!